Meeting Act. Notice of this meeting has been sent to the Star Ledger in the Times at least 48 hours prior to the meeting, and a meeting notice has been posted on the Secretary of State's bulletin board at the Department of State. Okay. And roll call. Kevin Quinn, Chairman.
Here.
Commissioner Angelo.
Here.
Commissioner Kareed.
Present.
Commissioner McCabe.
Present.
Jennifer Key Maloney for State Treasurer Moyo.
Present.
Charles Sarlo, Vice Chairman.
Here.
Phil Elagius.
Here.
Fred Dumont.
Here.
Luke Getty.
Here.
Bill Layton.
Here.
John Lutz.
Here.
Okay, on the phone, Maciel Ferreira.
Here.
Tom Scrivo.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Now, I have to tell you, I haven't been this nervous since a CYO basketball game in the 5th grade. The other thing I can say without equivocation is this is the largest crowd that has ever been to a chairman's initial meeting. So thank you for being in attendance. I'd like to thank Governor Murphy for having confidence in me and fulfilling this role. I want to thank Tim and the EDA staff for their professional orientation and considerable time that they've devoted to helping me get up to speed. It's a great group of professionals here at the EDA. I want to thank my fellow board members for showing up early today to meet me in person and for being available by phone. Thank you for being so welcoming. I also want to thank the public for being here. You know, I'm usually the one carrying signs at public meetings as a gun violence prevention activist. And I understand what you do is an essential part of making government more responsive and better. So thank you for your attendance. I'm confident that the EDA will continue to be good stewards of public capital, will continue to examine our processes and policies, and to be even better stewards in the future. I hope that the EDA, this board, and this staff, and I can contribute to restoring New Jersey's heritage as a technology and innovation economy. We have a full agenda today. I will turn things over to Tim.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to approve the minutes, or go straight to public. I think we're going to go straight to public comment.
Straight to, thank you. So this is the public's opportunity to share any comments you have as part of this meeting.
There was a list. Is the list what we're going by, or are we just speaking when the spirit moves up?
Who has the list? Does anyone have?
I think you can speak in whichever order you might have decided on your own. We wanted to make sure that we had an accurate tracking and list of everyone who was going to be speaking. So if you want to guide your group in the...
Sure. Why don't we lead off? So how about the folks from Camden? I know that a lot of folks came in all the way from Camden this morning. So David, do you want to lead us off?
I'll lead us off. Hi, my name is David Salas. I'm a mother from New Jersey Communities United and from Camden, New Jersey. I travel 3.5 hours to get to work in Wildwood from Camden because the companies in Camden are not hiring us Camden residents. There is no transparency. There is no jobs for us. And for a mother of 3, I spend $9.75 that could go into my kid's pocket or into my kid's food to be able to go to work every day. It's not fair to the Camden residents when King George Norcross is taking all the public funds. He's taking the funds for our public schools. He's taking the funds for our supermarkets. His tyranny has got to stop. Right now, we're all slaves, and George Norcross is our slave master. So he needs to be put to an end. He's stolen so much money from Camden, it's disgusting. And the EDA hasn't been putting a stop to it. And those that are under Norcross's belt on the EDA needs to resign. Because we are tired of so far.
Get out.
I have bartender, and I can't even get a job at the 76ers because I live in Camden. I was told, because I live in Camden, I can't get a job in any of these corporations. And that's a shame because I'm more than qualified to flip burgers. And as for our public schools, every day we're fighting for more public schools to be saved. They're about to take another school, and what they're going to do is put George Norcross's name on it and turn it into a Kip Norcross school. And where are these kids going to go? To a public school 10 million miles away from their house? It's not fair to the Camden residents. You need to step in and help save Camden. Thank you.
Hi. Hi. My name's Sabrina Bell.
I would spell it, yeah.
Fabriona I'm here with NJCU, and as a student who used to go to Vets, I just graduated. They're closing down Vets because of the building. They say is damaged, but the they said that the building is damaged when the building, they just fixed the roof. Like, we couldn't use the gym because they just fixed it. So the fact that they're saying that the roof is damaged is insane. And they're saying that the trailers in the back aren't fit when we just got those brand new, like 2 years ago. So I don't think it's right that students have to go all the way down to Davis, which is really far away, just because they say that the building is not ready. When they could have been fixed it. They said it's been like this for so long. They should have been already had the money to fix it. So yeah.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Yerlin Nunez, Yerelyn Nunez. I'm a student at Vets. I'm a 7th grader. I'm here with the same group as she is. As you all know, the issue with the school closing down, you know the buses issue, that the school, you have to be at least 2 miles away from it to be able to get buses. And if students don't live that far, they either have to live with their parents or they have to walk, and that's where, from where I live, that distance isn't safe at all. Kids shouldn't have to do that. As you said, issues with school, the school is fine, there's no issues. We have qualified teachers. What if my teachers, all of our teachers, we're all like a family there. I know some students who have had like behavioral issues before in the past, but now they're better because of the teachers that we have. Because we connect like a family, our teachers get us. If they close down our school, guess what's gonna happen? Issues. Kids are gonna start misbehaving at the schools that those students end up going to because none of the teachers understand them. I just find this.
Where's Justin? Justin, you want to go next? Justin, you were here early. Would you pass that back? Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning. Thank you all for being here. My name is Justin Goldsman, and I have the honor to serve as the chair of Our Revolution, Essex County, New Jersey. Today, I'm also representing the other 20 chapters we have throughout the state. And, for the few of you who are taking notes, thank you. I'm glad it's recording. For those of you on your phone, that was a very powerful testimony, and I ask that we all be given attention. Recent studies have shown that 75% of Americans, regardless of political party, are tired of the corrosive influence of money in our political spheres and believe that major donors should not have more influence than the average citizen. We equate money with corruption because, quite frankly, that is what money does to elected officials. It silences their autonomy on legislation as they bend to donors. It makes those who cannot cut massive checks less important than those who can. And in this case, the influence of money and power leads to tax breaks and incentives for those pulling the strings from the shadows. The EDA board should prioritize people and the needs of New Jersey residents over puppets and powerful influences. But once again, New Jersey seems to revert back to a party boss state while us, the residents, get screwed. Mr. Sheehan was a real estate lawyer, and according to the New York Times, he had his own handwriting and markups all over the early drafts of the EDA proposals. When unelected donors and power brokers have more influence over where our tax dollars are spent than do our actually elected officials, it's quite clear that we are nothing short of a shell of democracy. In fact, many people in this room, including myself, would describe the political health of New Jersey as a kleptocratic oligarchy. Elected officials should be the ones drafting and promoting legislation, not unelected power brokers deciding what is acceptable. And in order to regain our trust, the EDA should make available all contracts paid for by public tax dollars without redactions. This board should be an engineer for economic development focused on equity, not a catalyst for corruption focused on corporations. The difference between transformative and transactional politics is simple. One uplifts communities and people together. The other builds up skyscrapers and leaves communities and people behind. Because of this, we're asking that community members and organizations have input to ensure the businesses will benefit the actual communities they move into. ProPublica reported that over $1 billion of the money designated for Camden went to Norcross-related entities. $1 billion went to Camden, yet the number of jobs in Camden has gone down. So I would love to know how that happens. In 2014, Holtec was given $260 million to create 235 new jobs. And I really don't think it costs over $1 million to create one job, because that's how that math breaks out. The point of this board is to create jobs, yet even with these handouts, New Jersey pays so much more than the national average per job created. That's either corruption or mismanagement, but either way, it's unacceptable and inappropriate. We're also asking that community members, their skill sets, their priorities, be aligned with the types of businesses being brought into those areas to ensure that community members are the first thought when it comes to hiring. Companies that operate unpredatory lending, have questionable employment practices, and are harmful to small businesses should not be approved. Morality and ethics must resonate at the forefront of all EDA decisions. And everybody in this room is tired of corporate ransacking. You would think that when we have so many problems in New Jersey, we would finally have some bold leadership. People want investments in public education, in affordable housing, in transit, and in infrastructure. Also, some climate change investment along the shoreline would do some really good deals. We don't need helicopter pads or water luxury buildings. Economic investments means investing in people. It's not about left versus right, Democrats or Republicans. This is about trust and good governance. The only positive outcome from any of this is that corruption and the political power in this state is finally being shed at light. The level of corruption and mismanagement of taxpayer dollars demonstrated by the board members alone is cause enough to ask for resignations. But the level of harm done to our democracy and trust in the systems of government, that is one that is inexcusable and will have long-term effects on the trust of New Jerseyans and can only start to be remedied with resignations. So, thank you for your time. Sorry for rambling. Your service to the state, and hopefully your decision to morally act and step down.
Good morning. My name is Maricara Molina, and I'm a warehouse worker from Patterson. I'm a member of Workers United SEIU Union. I'm here today to demand real reform of the New Jersey EDA and to say enough is enough. We need to reform the New Jersey EDA to make sure that any public subsidies, especially subsidies for companies opening warehouses, distribution centers, include real protection for workers and real benefits for our communities. This means a living wage of $15 an hour, affordable health care, and safety protections at the very least. For too long, the New Jersey For too long, the New Jersey EDA has given away subsidies with no strings attached and with little public oversight. In the last 5 years alone, the New Jersey EDA awarded nearly $250 million in subsidies to companies opening warehouse distribution center in New Jersey. However, there was no requirements to ensure that these subsidies actually created good jobs for our local communities. This is ridiculous. We aren't creating good jobs with these subsidies, then what's the point? Other than to line the pockets of rich corporations? That's why we need to reform the New Jersey EDA now. We need real protections. We need real protection for taxpayers. We need real protection for workers, and we will not settle for anything less.
Hello, good morning. I'm happy we all made it here safely under the circumstances. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see a lot of people sitting at the table, as well as the many people who are standing in support of what needs to happen today. My name is Simone Jelks Bandison. I represent the Essex and Passaic County Progressive Democrats, Inc. I'm also running for State Assembly for the 34th District. It's concerning me when we have people who are elected into a position who's supposed to serve the people. And the people meaning all the people, not just a select few who can afford to add a little padding to people's paychecks or divert funds to people who probably don't even already need it. As for myself in Essex County and Passaic County, we feel those effects. And a victory for Camden is a victory for New Jersey. It's not just who benefits per district, right? There are 40 districts in New Jersey. I happen to represent the 34th, possibly one day, as of June 4th. And we feel it there too. So Camden, I stand with you. The mom in the back, I stand with you. I'm a mother, I'm an educator, right? And so I teach kindergarten, and we teach accountability, right? And if I'm teaching a 5-year-old to be accountable, I'm suspecting, I'm hoping that at some point someone will help people who are governing and making these rules about accountability, right? I can't foresee that anyone has not been to either kindergarten or pre-K sitting at this table. So I'm assuming that we've all had those life lessons taught to us. And it shouldn't be a trickle up, it should be a trickle down. So I expect, as a constituent, I expect as a resident of New Jersey, and possibly sitting here one day helping to establish rules and regulations, that we can have transparency. One, that we can all be able to see what's going on. And having redacted statements, having people have to read between the lines to figure out what's going on is completely unacceptable. We need to have an EDA who is for the people, not restricting the people. If you're put in a place to help us, then help us. Don't help us by giving us people who don't want to help us. If people are in Camden can't find a job, why? If they're not able to get a job where they live at, why? And it's happening in my counties as well. We have people giving away abatements to people who buy the land for 10 cents on the dollar, on the back page behind closed doors. I can't buy a house without having to go through somebody, to go to somebody. But we have people who are buying houses, who are developing in my neighborhood, not using local labor, right? We have people who need jobs. I have a median income of $35,000. The new buildings going up, we can't afford to live in. How? You know, we're not using our own people to build our communities. We're bringing outsiders in. We're bringing people who don't have our best interests at heart, from the top to the bottom, who need to really think about who put these people where they are. And if you don't like your job, then just say, you know what, I'm not here for that, and we'll vote you out. And if you don't want to do the job of what you're supposed to be doing, then resign.
Good morning. I'm Estina Baker. I'm a senior campaign lead for CWA, Communication Workers of America. I'd like to say that I just wanted to come in and show you, because I'm not a millennial, and quote a bunch of statistics to you and do all kinds of little things. I thought about doing that, but I took a trip last week to Camden. I'm from Bergen County. Sometimes we can get so caught in our cocoons in the different counties in which we live, that we turn a blind eye to some other things. But I took a trip last week to Camden. I did not know that the River Line would actually stop to where I was going, so I got off at the Rand Transportation Center because I had been there before. Have you ever been to the Rand Transportation Center? Have you seen the despair in the people's eyes? Have you seen that you might want to say, I better not go this way, I better go all the way around the corner just to make sure that I'm safe? And even though I'm from Bergen County, I'm no punk. I do enjoy dealing with people in all different places, but it's an abomination.
That's right.
Forget about politics if we can for 30 seconds. Forget about Republican and Democrat. Let's look at the moral implications. It is immoral what is going on in Camden. Yes, in a perfect world, we could walk in and say, you didn't do right by the people. I want you to resign, but we need to take a journey. We need to understand, how did we get to where we are? And how can I look at the people that I talked to last week in Camden? Because I took a chance by asking people questions on my way back to the Rand Transportation Center, on my safe way back to Trenton to jump on another train so I could go back to the cocoon in Bergen County. Well, I've already opened up the cocoon, so I can't go back to seeing what I've already seen. And the questions that we need to ask: what makes it acceptable that we could treat our other citizens, our fellow citizens, ones that we quote when we're giving great speeches? What gives us the right to treat them in such a manner? The CEO of Holtec was incredibly disrespectful, very disrespectful.
It's true.
Yes, there may be one or two people, but I can assure you that anybody who receives a TANF check is not gaming the system, because you don't get enough money to do that. So for a man who has gotten all of these tax breaks for his company, over $200 million worth, to think that he could have the authority, after getting taxes that those of us that are in this room pay out of our paychecks, that you think you could insult an entire community of people, and not a mumbling word, as far as I know, from anybody that's here sitting as a commissioner. I don't know your hearts. I would never be so presumptuous to come in and say that you are personally doing this because you have a personal vendetta against those people. And I understand that absolute power concedes nothing with the struggle, but let's make it clear today that we are here to struggle, and we will stand up for the people that are being done wrong. We will stand up today.
Stand up. Stand up.
Good morning. My name is Margaret Illis. I'm from Berkeley Heights, New Jersey, and I'm here representing a grassroots group called MJ7 Forward. I've been following the news regarding the EDA since I was here at the last meeting. I attended the hearings earlier this month in Newark, and honestly, the public has lost faith in this board. We said that last month, and the story has just gotten worse. We, the taxpayers of New Jersey, need more transparency into the actions of this board. Like other people who have testified today, all EDA applications, contracts, and other materials paid for by taxpayer funds should be made public. It should not be difficult for the public to get this information. This is the people's business. You're giving away taxpayer dollars. I understand that they're tax breaks, but the money that doesn't go into communities means the communities have to pay more. People like me have to pay more when corporations get subsidies. So because it's the people's business, we're talking about real people in real communities that need real jobs. The people of Camden need jobs. The fact that this board has given away tax breaks to companies that have no intention of hiring the people that actually live in Camden is a crime. The EDA tax breaks take money from the communities. They take money from Camden schools. They take money from Camden services because other people have to make up that money and there isn't sufficient money in the budget. So the EDA needs to be more fiscally responsible. The EDA needs to be more transparent in their actions. And we call on the EDA board, the ones that were appointed for political reasons, to resign. It's time. Of the EDA board is obviously there was no oversight into what was going on in the EDA agency. The EDA agency needs significant reforms, and it's fairly obvious to the people that this board cannot do this because you haven't been doing it up till now.
Anyone else around? Rancha or who?
Dina.
Oh, we got it. Okay. Yep, we'll move. Okay, Dina's here too.
Good morning. My name is Dennis Gormley. I'm from Voorhees, New Jersey, a resident of Camden County, and I'm here today representing Action Together New Jersey. I have a statement that can be found on the website at atnj.org. WNYC News recently published a report examining a New Jersey whistleblower case alleging Governor Chris Christie's administration pressured agency officials to, quote, overlook rules and regulations in the rush to approve billions of dollars in new subsidies, unquote. ADNJ condemns without reservation the actions of the previous administration and the Economic Development Authority to appease the state's business lobby and deliver tax breaks to large corporations that have their hooks in New Jersey's political process. Governor Murphy has made a point to reverse and rectify years of fiscal mismanagement that have already taken a toll on the state's residents. The corrupt handouts of billions of dollars in tax breaks adds insult to injury as New Jersey continues its battle with outstanding liabilities owed to creditors and pension holders. The report is especially alarming given Governor Murphy's budget address, as the administration looks for new revenue streams in order to set the state on a path towards fiscal responsibility. The misuse and lack of oversight associated with $11 billion in tax credits is an affront to New Jersey's taxpayers. ATNJ has been a vocal supporter of transparency and accountability in government, regardless of party affiliation or political ideology. We fully support the investigations by the Attorney General's Office and a moratorium on future EDA tax incentives until a thorough audit of the handouts during the Christie years has been completed. As ATNJ has advocated for in the past, we support an economic system that focuses on growth and progress. However, to do so at the expense of working families would be immoral and unjust. We will continue our fight to hold those governments accountable, just as we have fought to hold corporations accountable for their actions. I thank you very much for the time.
Spinning the room around. Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Good morning.
My name is Rancha Dickerson. I am a resident of Camden, New Jersey. I represent the they that they're talking about. I'm the they, right? I came here prepared with such an amazing speech, but feeling the energy inside this space, I just want to start and say thank you to all of you who are speaking on behalf of Camden. But right now, I will speak. it comes at a point where it feels like folks believe that Camden residents don't want, we don't need, we don't have the ability to fight for our own. And I'm here to stand to tell you today, as a daughter and a granddaughter of hard workers, 4 generations of hard-working families that raised their children in Camden City and put them through public school and struggled to put them through college. And some of us were the first time generation kids going to college, we still came back and gave back to our city. My grandmother is a registered nurse in Camden. My mother worked for Camel Seed Company. My father worked for many establishments in Camden doing construction. And my grandfather was one of the first labor union workers in Camden. So it's not that Camden residents don't want to work. It's just that we've been robbed. It's not that Camden is failing. It's that we've been failed.
Yes.
For too long, it has been a spirit of political greed inside of Camden, New Jersey. And today, we say no more. When Holtec decided to put the disrespectful, racist statement in the paper, that wasn't alone. It was coupled by Donald Norcross's racist statement too. And we, the residents, stood up, not by ourselves, with students who walked out of school, with parents who could not attend. The students became the they and represented their parents, with community members, with people who were at work, who took off from work that day to represent that day. That day, we made a shift in Camden, New Jersey, and we let everyone know that we will no longer allow the political greed to control the narrative of our city. We control the narrative. So today, we stand in this space with the EDA, letting you know that what your vision is for Camden does not include the grassroots voice, nor the people who will be directly impacted. What it includes is a spirit of greed, a spirit of displacement, a spirit of racial tension, a spirit of giving children no hope, a spirit of dismantling a community that has a true value, that everyone in here knows the value because it's all behind money. So I want you all to know us as Camden residents who are standing here today. We want to represent more than just the few numbers that are in this room, but the thousands of people who have to get up 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning to go get jobs outside of the city, 4 and 5 jobs to pay one bill, to decide whether they're going to pay electric bill, water bill, cell phone bill, or even try to save it for a car. We represent that day in Camden, New Jersey. So the struggle that is in Camden, New Jersey is man-made. It's not because the people are not ready to work. We are a resilient group of residents in that city that deserve a fair chance. We're talking about equity. We're talking about the ability to give us what we need, not what you think we want in our city. So today, as a Camden resident, standing here as a national organizer of Journey for Justice Alliance, where I organize in 40 cities across the country, the founding member of a Camden Parent Union, the member of a Camden We Choose Coalition, we are de-siloing Camden. We are no longer allowing you all to separate our narrative. We're no longer allowing anyone to come in and tell us what to do. We're no longer allowing you to build the cake without us being a part of the ingredients to build that cake. We are not allowing us to So to all of my Camden residents who are here, you are represented well. We represent each other very well. But to the EDA board, we say no more. There's racial injustices going on in Camden. You all, everyone in this room has been scrutinizing using the race card as a way to get rid of people from the SDA, to get rid of people from all over the city, but you do the same exact thing all the time in the city. So the good old boys and the good favors and all the political bosses who think they control Camden, we are the they and we say no more. We stand here today to say if you don't stand up for the residents, we tell you to sit down and move on. Move on. We stand strong and we will not back down to anyone, to identity politics, to anything that's happening in Camden City. We will no longer allow it to control the people because we are the numbers and we are the power. So I stand here today saying to the board, not asking, telling you all to redirect your conversation and look at this with a different lens of value. Camden has not been a failing city. You all have failed us. More of our Camden residents who've been fighting tirelessly to continue the narrative for Camden, New Jersey.
Hello, my name is Pastor Amir Khan from Camden, New Jersey. And I can tell you, if you come to our great city, you'll see the tale of two cities. You see a city of Camden residents who've been there for generations, like my father, who was a medical doctor there in Camden for 54 years. We grew up in Parkside, and my father, after years of being a physician, could have moved out to Cherry Hill, Voorhees, other areas, and made a lot more money. He chose to stay in Camden for another 30, 40 years because he felt this is his heart, this is his spirit, and he had a heart to stay in Camden. I can tell you, if you come to Camden, you also see the other side of Camden, which is downtown. Where in our side of Camden, you have potholes everywhere, you have lights that don't work, you have water that you can't drink. Imagine your children being in a public school, and literally in Camden, you cannot drink out of the water fountain. That's how bad the water is. What a great message, because now the kids go home to their parents, and they're drinking the same water. They're bathing in the same water, they're cooking in the same water. But if you go downtown to where EDA has given so much money to, 1.7 billion or whatever it might be at this point, and you see beautiful lights. You don't have to worry about your shocks being messed up in your car, driving down the streets. You see police officers everywhere. I'm a pastor in Camden, but I also see the amount of funerals I have to do. Like the ones a few weeks ago of 3 kids that were shot. 2 of them murdered, a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old. Have to deal with murders like this every single time, but yet you go downtown, you see cop cars everywhere, where all the EDA buildings are going up, where the George Norcross buildings are going up. But in the city, you can barely find a police officer. That's why we have the kind of murders we have. I can tell you this, something's wrong when you see something like our school district building that was sold 2 years ago for $5 million. Real quick, because George wanted that building. So they sold it real quick. Who they sell it to Millennium, and who controls that? All of George's people. And that particular building was then sold 1 year later for $13.5 million. Try making $8, $9 million in 1 year. And by the way, why would somebody buy a building for $8, $9 million more than they know you paid for it a year before? Unless you are EMR, they got $252 million from the EDA board. Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. You know, buy the thing for $7, $8 million. Let me make $8 million off you, but we're going to give you back $252 million. And listen, I got a bridge to tell everybody in this place. If you're going to tell me that you think backdoor deals weren't done on that and so many other deals. I personally witnessed it when we need companies that come to Camden that can hire Camden residents. Who does Holtec hire? And you're right, Sister Rancha, when we were out there protesting that day on those terrible, terrible statements that were made, they're lazy. They don't show up for work. They. We should have wore our they shirts. Because we are they. We are they. And we have people that do want to work. But understand, when you deal with a city like Camden, we need to have corporations that will come in and understand wraparound services. Understand giving counseling. Understand giving transportation. We need certain services to help get our residents back to work. I've watched firsthand, because most of the companies that are coming to Camden, they're not hiring Camden residents. They will use a number of 10%. And let me tell you what the 10% are. See, you can read the papers all you want, but we know the people. So, okay, you want to hire, so you can say you have 10%. So that's great. You're having people push brooms, clean toilets, serve food. How about training to get people from minimum wage? How many know in New Jersey you can't live off of $9 and $10 and $11 an hour that these companies are paying? So there we're moving to $15 an hour, but even $15 an hour is difficult. How about training our people so we can get good paying jobs and we can live a life in Camden and survive? And we really should be doing more than thriving. We should be not surviving, but thriving. Let me just share this last story with you. We bought a company to Camden about 5, 6 years ago. It was a large company. They do about $1 billion a year. But they chose not to go through EDA. because they really wanted to give back to the community. And they were a company, and basically 90% of their people would have been hiring Camden residents, because it's all manufacturing. It was putting together these mobile homes for tragic areas like Katrina, when Katrina hits and things like that. They would put these little mobile homes together. So we got them to come to Camden. They got a big, beautiful 150,000 square foot building. They started putting their money into it. And because they didn't go through and kiss George's ring, here was their quotes and advertisement to the community. We will pay minimum $15 an hour. We want to hire Camden residents first. And we will hire formerly incarcerated. And we will have wraparound services so we can get Camden residents back up on their feet and working. And you would think this is the kind of company that they would roll the red carpet out on. Instead, I remember watching Mr. Irv drive up in his Bentley down Haddon Avenue, pull up at a big event, Haddon Avenue Street Festival. And all the kids came over, they wanted to jump in his Bentley. He got in the Bentley, let him play with the Bentley. Then he got out and started walking down the street. And the mayor was right there. If I come over here and meet Mr. Richter, the one that wants to bring a factory here, he's bringing a factory, he's already doing it, already spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, come over and talk to him. She wouldn't come 10 feet over to even say hello to the man that wants to hire 1,000 Camden residents. That one company would have hired more residents than all the companies right now combined. They scheduled a meeting to meet with him. It took about a month to get the meeting. It was all scheduled, and because they felt he wasn't playing ball with George, the night before at 6:33, I have the text messages on my phone right now. I'll show every one of you. They contacted Mr. Richter and said, we cannot make it to the meeting tomorrow to talk about you coming and being involved in Camden. Well, send a representative. We don't have any more representatives. Well, can we schedule another meeting? Well, the mayor said we can't schedule another meeting right now. And by the way, whether it's the mayor, the superintendent, whatever, they're all controlled by George. Whatever George says, that's what they do. And by the way, we have documentation on this, and they're going to be deposed anyway. They're either going to lie and go to jail or tell the truth. Right now, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're tired of the injustice that's happening in Camden. That company picked up and said, we don't want to be here. The exact quote from that owner of that company, that billion-dollar company, says, we go to other third world countries and they roll the red carpet out for us. And we can't even meet with people here in Camden. We don't need this. Picked up and they moved their company down to Philadelphia, Mississippi. I'm telling you, the injustices that are happening in Camden have been happening for decades. And we here, as Camden residents, are saying we are mad as hell. We're not going to take it anymore.
That's right.
They talked about an unjust law. This is an unjust law. Things have to change. The board has to change. We stand behind Governor Murphy 1,000%. We believe the whole board should be changed. And we see. If they can get rid of Lizette at the SDA, because of being having too many of the cronies involved, I think we can get rid of a whole bunch of board members here at the EDA because of all the connections with Governor Christie, all the connections with Norcross, all the connections with all the corporations. Something has to change. 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 Something has to change.
Resign! Resign!
Resign! Resign and have a blessed day.
Stan White, Camden City, can you hear me? What my concern is, I'm a part of this coalition. What my concern is, and I'll give you these. Can you pass them around, because I believe in visuals. We have a new Camden High School coming. We had a field, and I was part of it, and these two behind me, that raised $1.2 million for Camden High's turf field and lights. we asked everybody, we got bleachers that look just like that picture now. We have locked up toilets that look just like those pictures now. Our kids are using porta pots for the last 5 years. Try to get a handicapped kid in a porta pot. They put where we change to play games, they put our kids in a room full of asbestos and mold. I told the superintendent, no more. He said, Stan, do what you gotta do. But I shouldn't have to do what I had to do. I had the health department close it the hell down. Now, our kids have no running water, so when they go to the bathroom, if they have pizza, they gotta eat pizza, and just went to the bathroom. Why I'm saying this, because EDA, with all these companies in, is there, and I don't know if your board has the right to speak, I'll find out in a minute. Is there a community benefit clause that these companies come in and give back to the community? Because it's in your mission statement, so I need to know. Like normal, this board can't answer questions, just listen, right? Okay, let me share how anybody in Camden get a benefit from these companies. First of all, you got to kiss the ring of George Norcross. You're going to say, what does he have to do with that? Because the mayor cannot get you into these companies, and that's the only way you get in. Through Dana Reed, I'm not leaving her out, to this present mayor.
Roll call.
They have to make the decision if I get the Subaru, if I get the Hotech, if I get the resident. I can name the companies. Why is that? Because I would love, you guys gave them the money. Can I invite one of you guys on this board, by the chair discretion, bring that board member down to Camden, and I'll show you what I'm looking at. That these are what our kids, and you want to know why? SDA does not fund athletic fields. Something wrong with that picture too. So that's my concern. I won't delay you, but we need your help. And what I asked them to do, we also are looking into legislation that George and Donald and his brother writes everything for Camden, which that's in the paper.
Urban Hope Act.
But we need to come down to Camden. Can you raise your hands? How many been to Camden on a tour? Can you do that?
One. What was that, David?
On the outside. Thank you.
It was the fundraiser dinner.
Can I ask the board, where is the chair at? Because that's who I should be addressing. Hello, sir. Can you assign somebody to come to Camden?
I'll come to Camden.
Thank you, sir. Where do I get your number instead of going through a switchboard and say you got to use the hotline? You don't have to give it publicly, but hey.
Yeah.
I'm done. Thank you. I'll hold you to that. Thank you.
Finalize Camden. What we're asking for everybody inside this room is that we're going to do an equity bus tour in Camden, New Jersey. We're going to do an equity bus tour so we can compare and we can give a true assessment of what's happening at the waterfront, what's happening inside of the city, the Tale of Two Cities. We want you all to come. We don't want you to speak about it or Google it or hear from another person's mouth. We want you to come to Camden and get on the bus with us. We want legislators, the EDA board, residents from all over the state of New Jersey. This is not just a Camden issue. This is a state of New Jersey issue. That's right. Camden's being used as the blueprint of how to give manufacturer misery inside of a city to take it over. So we want you to come to an equity bus tour. We're doing it at the top of June, so you all can be able to get on this bus with all of us, the residents first, students, parents, taxpayers, voters, and then people inside this room. So if you all want to get in touch with us, we'll be public and say it. Email us at camdenparentunion@gmail.com and put equity bus tour. camdenparentunion@gmail.com equity bus tour. Put that in your subject. Camden.
One more
Go
thing,
ahead.
very important.
Go ahead, Camden, go ahead.
Who was the lady in the room I heard, I was outside, couldn't get in, about the transportation center?
That would be me.
Okay, there you brought it. But let me tell them a little more about the
Go ahead,
transportation center.
unpack that. Unpack it.
How would you feel if your child was in one of them schools downtown? Your child, 5 years old, 6 years old, most of them are walking to school, no bus, no parent, because parent work, so I give them credit for walking to school. But then they gotta walk past somebody that just OD'd on drugs.
That's right.
On the street, right at the transportation center, that person's dead.
Oh, wow.
Till life comes back and help them. But what trauma is that? Our police chief, whenever he's available, never can get him. He don't come to community meetings. Something should be done about Broadway. That is our main sector of Camden. And you don't think it's embarrassing, COD, and how George Cooper Hospital gets around statistics. Those people that OD aren't charged with nothing. They are taken maybe to the local hospital, get treated, and then a police will transport them back to Cherry Hill, Haddonfield. And you guys think it's us all about drugs. If you get the stats from Cooper Hospital about overdoses, you'd be amazed.
They don't look nothing like us.
And they hide it, don't look nothing like us.
They definitely don't. They drop them off in vans and bring them down to Camden to go to the methadone clinic and walk our streets like zombies. And our children have to see that every day. They're overdosing on our streets. Our babies are in our schools, the so-called safe corridors that we're supposed to have in Camden. But with our public schools, which is the biggest joke in the state of New Jersey, the Renaissance schools are not working.
They're not.
They're not working. They're failing our children. And finally, we want to say this part here, that the methadone clinic that was created in Camden, and it's right in front of City Hall, buses come in with droves of white people, kids who are overdosing and addicted to drugs, drop them off in Camden, New Jersey, then they are left to their own devices in Camden to walk around. No families are coming to get them. No families are coming to scoop them up. And this whole epidemic of the war, this drug issue that's going on, this opioid issue, what happened when black folks were on drugs? What happened to us? What happened to us when we were on drugs? The opioid issue that's happening in New Jersey is so pathetic to me because when black folks were on drugs, we were locked up. But now when white children are on drugs and they're crying, there's a way for us to find a solution for them. So this is just a blatant discussion of how racist America is, and you show it in cities like Camden really transparently by doing things like that. So we say no more. We say no more. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Mi nombre es Tomasa Paz y miembro del sindicato internacional del empleador de servicio local 32BJ. Hoy hay 13,000 trabajadores como yo en el sindicato que trabajan en el edificio.
My name is Tomasa Paz, and I'm a member of Service Employees International Union, Local 32BJ. There are 13,000 workers like me in the union who work at buildings.
Si el Estado otorga un incentivo al propietario de un edificio, no debería poder pagar a sus empleados menos de lo que gana nuestros miembros. Perdón, sorry.
If the state gives a subsidy to a building owner, they shouldn't be able to pay their employees less than what our members make.
Las empresas ricas no deberían pagar menos impuestos y hacer que sus trabajadores sufran al mismo tiempo.
Rich companies shouldn't get to pay less in taxes and have their workers suffer at the same time.
El dinero debe usarse para ayuda a las personas comunes como yo y esta junta debe respetar a las personas que trabajan como yo.
The money should be used to help regular people like me, and this board needs to respect working people like me.
Sorry.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dina Matola-Jaworska. I'm the Associate Director at New Jersey Citizen Action, and I just wanted to speak briefly and first say that these were really powerful comments that we heard so far, so thank everybody who came out to speak already and everyone who is still planning to speak. I just quickly want to say that our organization does feel strongly that this program, the EDA tax subsidy programs, need a major overhaul, and also that the board needs changes. We don't think that we can achieve the changes that we need in the program, the policy changes, without changes on the board. That we've looked the other way while this program has gone on the way it has, and I just have a couple major reforms that I'd like to lay out that we would like to see, and I know that what I'm going to say is shared by most of our partners who have been working together on this. First, we need to see a better return on investment in terms of jobs. With this program, we cannot be the embarrassment of the entire nation by paying $200,000 for supposedly every job that's created. We just can't go on like that. So that's the first thing. The average around the nation is $16,600 per job, so we can't continue like this. We understand from looking at research, and I know some of my colleagues in the room also understand this, that tax subsidies for large corporations are not the best way to promote economic development. So when we think about making an investment in large businesses in our state, we should be thinking about where else might this money go that would actually achieve economic development for people and communities. So we put that out there as the frame for which we look at whether or not we should be making, how much we should be making major investments in large corporations. Number two, we need to see, communities need to benefit when we make investments in large corporations. Many of my folks who spoke before me already spoke to this, but we need jobs, local hiring, and local benefits. That is just a must. Number three, we need a program here in the state that is statewide, that benefits communities that need economic development all across the state. So that means we can't have a program that politically steers money to one community that, yes, is in need, but there are many others in our state. And I think that our legislature, who has allowed this to go on, and any of the members of this board that have allowed this to go on, have actually worked in some regard against your own self-interest and your own community self-interest, and it needs to stop. Number four, we need a program we can afford. We cannot afford this program and how big it's gotten. We need to downscale this program dramatically. That means we need real hard caps on how much we're spending on these tax subsidy programs. Why do we need these caps? Well, because we're broke as a state, as we all know. And because when we don't look at what these programs cost and we spend too much, we starve other programs that actually people need. Programs that are delivering real economic development benefits for people and communities. So we can't keep doing that. And we need to put these tax subsidy programs in the budget so that every year they are voted on and that we are understanding as taxpayers and people and legislators what this program is costing us. We've been, again, looking the other way for too long. And then last, we need to stop investing in companies that are economically damaging poor people, low-income people, low-income communities, and I'm speaking about Jackson Hewlett, the tax preparer that's been preparing taxes for people, mostly lower-income people with hidden fees, and taking some of their returns that they need for things that their families need. And I'm also talking about the Jersey City Company. I think it's World Business Leaders that our executive director, Phyllis Salo-Kay, wrote an op-ed about that was in the Star Ledger yesterday, that quite frankly is the worst kind of company we should never be investing in. They damaged small businesses forced them into bankruptcy with high interest rates, put them into default, and really destroyed livelihoods of people. We should not be using taxpayer dollars to invest in these kinds of companies. So that's just some of the reforms that we are looking for. And we are urging everyone on this board and in the legislature to not let politics take over this debate. This is a policy debate. Everything that everyone already spoke to, we're talking about real policy change, and it needs to happen, and we run the danger of letting politics get in the way of getting these reforms done. And the taxpayers really do deserve better. We need a board that is aligned with the interests of taxpayers, that's going to think of our dollars as hard-earned, because they are, and that they're going to think every time they invest a single dollar of our tax money, they're going to be thinking about whether it's well invested and whether we're going to get a return as taxpayers, and whether we're investing in good companies that help people and help to support our low-income communities and our communities that need economic development. So thank you for hearing us today. We really appreciate it.
Excuse me one second, please. My name's Anastasia Fabian. I'm a member of NJCU, Camden's Communities United. I'm also a resident of Camden and a parent of 8. Forgive me for not standing. I'm disabled. I just wanted to come here today to give you some testimonies and my thoughts. Okay, I'm here today because the New Jersey Economic Development Authority has failed to do their job. And along with everyone gathered here today, on behalf of my community, I am calling for the board to resign, for the agency to be reformed, and for greater transparency and community involvement. Camden cannot afford the EDA to continue operating as it has. The $1.6 billion in subsidies that have allegedly been invested in Camden has not improved our city or the quality of life. In fact, Camden is worse off. The EDA was supposed to bring jobs to Camden, but I haven't ran across any community members, church members, or social network people that have found employment to the companies that have received these subsidies. The EDA was supposed to uplift our city and result in better infrastructure and services for residents. Instead, the new developments that have been built and are being built have altered the flow of rainwater, and my community is routinely flooded when it rains. In fact, I was in a car accident last week, going to church. My car was totaled. I hit a parked car. I had to get my children out of the car to knock on the door of the people who live there to find out whose car I hit. I did not feel that it was right to just drive away. During that time, a big business corporation that is in Camden, the guy pulled up behind me and asked me and my children if we were okay. To then inform me that he didn't want his name or the cops to question him, but he said he ran over that pothole last week and blew out a tire. Okay? I've been re-injured, and now me and my kids have to do without. The EDA was supposed to bring businesses to Camden and the residents, like a grocery store. I asked my neighbors how they get their food and their groceries. The grocery store is across town, or in Philadelphia. They have to take public transportation or taxis, which costs $12 there and $12 back. That's $24 that could have helped feed my children.
That's right.
I found myself in need. This is a travesty. The taxpayers of New Jersey deserve an economical development agency that does not squander billions of dollars on George Gronkov and his corporate clients. The residents of Camden are here today to demand leadership at the EDA. We would like you to resign. I have 8 children, and I love each and every one, and none of them were a mistake. Amen. Okay? I live in Camden. I'm not from New Jersey or from Camden. I lived in a good suburban area. I choose to live in Camden because there's some really nice people in Camden, regardless of their color, their race, or their religion. To hear that the Board of Education, which is a public building, was sold because it was waterfront property for millions, and to go to a public school for my kids not to have books. How much of that money, of public money from a public school board, went back into the children? Nobody, whether you're black, white, wherever, Cherry Hill, Morristown, Bergen, Atlantic City, no child is born saying, I want to be a drug addict or a drug dealer. Right. Nobody's born saying that. Kids, when you go to school, want to be the mayor, the president. They want to have their own tire company. Not everybody wants to go to college either. But they would like to make a decent living and take care of their family or themselves. It is not fair for you to steal. I don't like it that Christie appointed Paymon superintendent, and he promised not to fire 900 teachers that dedicated their education and their life to helping others. For you then to go in and take public schools, say that the buildings were not good enough for the kids to go to. You put all the kids out, excuse me, and then you went back, took that same building, took subsidy money, rehabbed it, put your name on it,
Made it a Renaissance school.
and made a Renaissance school to give them teachers that are not qualified. Or do not even care because they're only there to pay a little bit of their tax, their college off, and then they go on to their new careers. That is not fair. It's not fair to the state, the government, or to the kids.
That's right.
It's not fair to you because one day you're going to be old. And you're going to need that money that those kids put back in the taxes. Do you think about that? You're going to need it. Not just me, you. It's not fair for people to go to work and expect to get a pension. Or retirement, however the retirement comes, and for you to say, look, you shouldn't take the money right now. We're going to put it over here. But then when Christie left, he grandfathered himself for all their back money and broke the bank again. And Dana Reed and North Cross. You grandfathered yourself on other people's money and hard work and sweat. That is not fair. It's not fair for me to have to come from Camden to go to Camden County College to see Sweeney tell us that with all the subsidy money that they gave people and buildings and built the buildings and tax-free money, that he couldn't even pay Amazon to come to Jersey because you are so crooked and dirty and immoral.
That's right.
They went somewhere else. You couldn't even pay them to come. And that isn't even a job anybody in New Jersey wants. And we're going to cook it because we want to fed our families. I don't want to be on welfare. I don't want to be on disability. I didn't ask for any of this. All I wanted in life was my children and to give my love to them and others.
Right. That's right.
That's what I wanted. But it's not what I'm getting. I'm getting talked about. I'm getting talked down to black, brown, yellow, blue, white. There is no such thing. There's man that God made. One man. One woman that created all of us. You know, they said when I was little, you could give a man a fish and let him eat for the day. But how much better to teach him how to fish so that he can live forever. Teach one. Look what you're teaching. Look what you're teaching. You're teaching lies, greed, indecency. Nobody in Camden is a kingpin. And I do respect Obama for that one thing. Because the minorities were in jail, like they said, for drug use, dealing. I'm not rich enough to go to Puerto Rico or Colombia or wherever the drugs come from to bring them back to the United States, so it has to be one of you. My children drugs. And now you're noticing that it's coming back because shit blows downwind. Okay? And you're getting slapped in the face with it. And I feel sorry for those people that have to come in to the methadone clinic. I feel sorry for anybody, no matter what color or religion they are, that have to have that struggle of addiction. But I want you to know that I want you to really think about the things you're doing. And if you're not a good person, or you want to be a better person, then you need to step up and leave and give the position to somebody that will do some good. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ron Rivers. I'm here to speak on behalf of both myself and the hundreds of New Jersey residents I have personally spoken to. I'm running for state assembly in LD 17, which means I'm knocking on a lot of doors. And if any of you guys have ever talked to the residents, property taxes are the big concern. So imagine our residents' frustration when I talk about the blatant theft that has occurred in our community of our tax dollars. They're angry, and I'm here to speak on their behalf about their anger and their frustration with this board. The EDA's website, the mission states, and I'm going to quote this, I'm just going to read this, an independent state agency that finances small and mid-sized businesses, administrators tax incentives to retain and grow jobs, revitalizes communities through redevelopment initiatives, and supports entrepreneurial development by providing access to training and mentoring programs. If you consider that your mission statement, that your North Star, it is very apparent you guys are off course. When I initially read the revelations surrounding this scandal, I was both surprised and disappointed. I expected more from a state institution that presumably has economic experts, right? People with business-minded sense, successful people. But we know that trickle-down economics, giving tax incentives and breaks to our wealthiest, has never worked. Historically, at the national level, at the state level, it has failed time and time again. We would expect that to be common knowledge from our leadership here at the EDA. If the accusations are correct, our board leadership has failed. Allowing Norcross and his sphere of political and business allies to transfer wealth from New Jersey's middle and lower class to the wealthiest corporations and individuals in our state. Even more offensive, how Parker McKay Law Firm was allowed to influence the very language that determined the distribution of our tax dollars. I'm here to share with you that the people of New Jersey are watching. People are paying attention to this. In a time of increasing economic insecurity, fueled by automation, artificial intelligence, the looming climate crisis that's going to disrupt global economies, we expect you to do better. $11 billion of our tax monies are gone. That's money that could have been used for schools, for roads, for infrastructure projects, public work projects. It's now up to you to ensure that no person associated with this deal is left to govern our tax dollars. Our trust has been broken. It's time to make it right. It's time to resign. Resign.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Raj Bath, and I'm the business representative for New Jersey Main Street Alliance. We're a coalition of over 1,500 independent small business owners throughout the state. I have a short, brief statement that I wanted to read out, but before I do, I just wanted to congratulate Chairman Quinn on your appointment, and hopefully you'll be a breath of fresh air that could bring some serious reform. So I'm here to highlight some concerns from the small business community in regards to how the EDA has been operating. The first bad news came back in January when we found out from the controller report that basically over $11 billion in tax breaks were given out. Now, we've also learned that some of these companies who benefited from these handsome rewards are also bad actors. We've learned that they will go to the extreme lengths to not only just falsify information just to gain an advantage, but they'll also prey on other small business owners. It goes without saying that New Jersey, they don't need these type of businesses in our state. The absence of oversight on the EDA has resulted in corruption and mismanagement. Where there is a lack of, there will always be trouble. And this is not just businesses with South Jersey political connections. This includes credits to companies like Jersey City-based World Business Lenders, which not only cheated to get its tax breaks, but it makes money as a predatory lender for small business owners. And small business owners are supposed to be the bread and butter of our economy. You take them out, we have nothing left with. WBL profits off the economic misery and the bankruptcies of small business owners. And this is a company that our state EDA gave millions in tax dollars to. Small business owners struggle and continue to struggle to gain access to credit and capital. Banks rarely extend lines of credit, and then usually they offer loans that are either too large or they're too expensive. And to top it off, you have predatory lenders who come in and they bombard the small business owners constantly on a daily basis by phone and by fax. True economic development that can really help assist Main Street to compete and to thrive, we need investment in these communities. That's how it's going to work. Not just simply giving out a blank check for these big corporations to simply turn around and use it for whatever they want, as opposed to giving back to the community and actually doing what they're supposed to be doing via the mission statement. Providing funding for our communities, such as infrastructure, education, and the public good, that's going to create the opportunity zones to help us move forward. In particular, improving our transportation can mean something simple as less traffic, which means less waste of time for these small business owners that are trying to get their good or their service to another area. We have an opportunity to help our small business owners take advantage of the tri-state market. Trust me, there are north, central, and southern business owners who wish their public transportation was better. And yes, Central Jersey does exist. For those There are three quick things that the EDA can move forward on to help change everything. Contracts from EDA recipients must prioritize hiring of local businesses and employees. Subsidies must target small and mid-sized businesses. And any tax credit scheme must include robust community benefit agreements.
Right.
I conclude by stating that this is not political. It's about bad actors and bad policy. Let's work to ensure that the EDA corrects its course to help spur real economic development that's fair for all of New Jersey. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Bridget Devane. I'm the Public Policy Director for the Health Professionals and Allied Employees. We are the largest union in New Jersey representing nurses and health professionals. And I'm here today because we do represent the nurses in your community, in Camden at Cooper. And we join everybody here today calling for the resignation of the board members, and in part because many of the applications that came before you were rubber stamped and approved. And there was little scrutiny, little oversight of how those projects would move forward. In healthcare, the Department of Health approves bonds and financing for healthcare institutions in New Jersey. There's a division within the Department of Health called HCFA, the Healthcare Financing Authority. And that's where hospitals and healthcare institutions go for financing. And yet, they're now going to the EDA for financing. I will note that the Department of Health does not have a representative here in the room. There is no seat here for the Commissioner of Health. Is there any coordination with the Department of Health when these applications are being approved? Where is the oversight of healthcare? There are conditions the Department of Health will set on those institutions when those bonds are approved through the Department of Health. But are those same conditions being set on healthcare when they come through this body? And part of those conditions is making sure that any healthcare institution that receives financing should be required to invest in healthcare services in that community, to make sure the needs of that community are being met by that healthcare institution, that jobs are provided for the community, for the local community. And just as everybody has said here today, that those jobs should be local jobs, I will also add that the EDA should be looking to these corporations, these healthcare institutions, to not just provide local jobs, but they should be union jobs. Any institution which receives a tax break should make a commitment to make sure that they will not use money to fund anti-union campaigns. Amen. Workers deserve to have a voice in their workplace, and we call on the EDA to make sure that workers' rights are protected as a condition if you are giving tax incentives. You have a large responsibility in giving these tax breaks to corporations. But the corporations are not being held accountable once they're given those breaks. If the Department of Health were to authorize that funding, they will hold those corporations accountable. They have a requirement to produce all their financial information and that it is public. The bonds are public documents. And are they just skirting all of that transparency by coming to you? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Dilks-Brotman. I'm a resident of Collingswood. I actually had a little bit more written that was going to quote a lot of the news articles that we've all already read, I know, because we're all here and angry. But I scrapped a lot of that after hearing from so many of my neighbors in Camden, people who are community leaders in that city, educators, parents, religious leaders. All of them know, and we've heard just from the people who spoke in this room, have such a deep base of knowledge of what that city needs. I'm pretty sure that any one of them, given almost $2 billion, could have done a lot better of a job. But the reason why I scrapped all of that is because there's just one thing that keeps rattling around in my brain. Given what we know, and given what they've told us today, how the hell did you decide that instead of actually helping that community, that one guy needed needed money for a new helipad? How the hell did you decide that one guy needed to so we didn't have to walk through the streets instead of actually helping build that community up? That's all I have. If you, I think we've come too far, and you obviously all need to resign. But But before you do, we would like an answer to that question.
Or resign first.
Or resign first.
Hi, my name is Anthony Vicenti. I'm here today on behalf of Wolfpack in New Jersey. I really just wanted to come here and say that Wolfpack New Jersey agrees with New Jersey working families and everyone else here. All these amazing and terrible stories that we've heard today, they're tragic and enlightening and extremely heartfelt. It just gets me broken up to hear these stories that happen to my fellow New Jerseyans. Yeah, I would really love to see what happens today after this meeting when we all call for your resignation and none of you resign. I would love to see all of us, plus even more, come back to these meetings and organize and keep organizing all of us to come together to keep calling for your we need to fix this entire country of all the corruption. I have gone around the entire country for the last couple of years, witnessing and experiencing my own level of corruption, and it is so detrimental to every single person's livelihood in here. We need to fix it now, and today, the fix is your resignation. That's right. Thank you.
Is there anybody else? I think we're gonna wrap up pretty soon. Is there anyone? Okay, one more quick. Oh, two more? Okay, we'll do 1, 2, and then we'll be just about finished. Okay, you wanna go too?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. Let's make these last ones quick.
Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carol Clark, and I'm from Essex County. Real quick, I promised my brother here that I would be brief and then be seated. One, for the people in Camden, when they come for you, if we say nothing, next they will come for us.
That's right.
That's number one. Number two, people take an oath of office. I know because having served, I took an oath of office. I believe all of the commissioners take an oath of office. You know what that is. As this sister said here, no one knows your heart, and no one has a heaven or hell to put you in. However, you do know what's right, and you know what's just, and you know what your mission is, and you know in your heart of hearts whether you've done it or whether you haven't. Now, these stories don't exist in a vacuum, which means that there's a problem. Where there's smoke, there's usually some fire. So I think it's important for people to go back and sit down after we leave here and you have your meeting to discuss some of the things that transpired. For sure, there were a couple of hands that said they were going to go to Camden. So it's important for you to go and see where you've spent your money. And then lastly, like the brother said over there in the corner, two brothers said over there in the corner, after this is all said and done, if people go away and say nothing and do nothing, then nothing will happen.
What's up time?
You vote, you have a vote, exercise it. Voting is coming up, June, November, use it. You have the power to vote, use it. And hold people accountable. Not today, but tomorrow, and next week, and next week, and next week. Because guess what? It's public money, public dollars. You don't get to spend it however you choose. You have to be accountable, and you have to be transparent. You should never fear someone looking into what you're doing if what you're doing is right. Thank you.
My name is Jocelyn Sawyer. I am here representing Food and Water Watch and Food and Water Action. We are a statewide environmental organization that works to ensure clean and safe water for people across New Jersey. And I'd like to highlight just one case in particular about a corporation that received tax breaks to move to Camden, which is American Water. American Water is one of the largest private for-profit water utility companies in the country. Its subsidiary, New Jersey American Water, is the biggest water utility in the state of New Jersey. And American Water received a $164 million tax break to move its headquarters from Voorhees about 30, 45 minutes down the road to Camden.
Not even that.
Not even, I hear. The ties between American Water and the Norcross family are no secret. Philip Norcross's lobby firm was paid $854,000 since 2012 by American Water. The CEO of American Water thanked George Norcross personally for encouraging the move to Camden, the opening of the new headquarters. And it's also no surprise that Donald Norcross, in his role as a state senator, facilitated the passage of legislation that makes water privatization easier in the state of New Jersey, paving the way for American Water's business interests. So just to give a little bit of history about water in Camden. In the mid-1990s, there was significant contamination uncovered in the Camden water system, and it was also uncovered that the aquifer that Camden, as well as numerous other communities all the way up to Trenton, were drawing from was being depleted. And the city was given an ultimatum at that time by the state that said if they didn't pay to fix the water system and to change the water source, that the city would actually lose its license to operate a public utility. The repairs that were needed would have cost the city of Camden $88 million. The city was not able to come up with that money and did not receive sufficient support from the state of New Jersey or the federal government, and was backed into a corner and forced to privatize the water system and sign a lease for a private company to operate that water system. That initial lease, by the way, was terminated early because the first company they signed with U.S. Water failed to improve the infrastructure. It was such a disaster. The lease was terminated early. The company that now holds the lease that manages Camden water system is American Water. It is a concern to me, to all of us I know, not only where the tax money is going, but what the companies are doing with that money. My organization, Food and Water Watch, has extensive research on the impacts of water privatization on communities, and it's not good. It's not good for local economies. And just to set a couple quick statistics, after a water system is privatized, on average, 1 in 3 water jobs is lost. So even if there are a handful of jobs that were brought to Camden when American Water moved its headquarters, the work of that company is reducing the workforce, is losing jobs in the water sector across New Jersey. People's water rates go up. They're at greater risk of water shutoff. Water rates increase by an average of 59% in New Jersey when water is privatized, and there's a loss of democracy when what should be a public service is operated by a private corporation. The people have no say. If a company moves its headquarters into Camden only to siphon money out of the community by raising rates to line the pockets of investors and CEOs and lobbyists, that is not building up Camden. That is not progress or growth. There was a decision made in the way that these incentives were rolled out, particularly as I've shown around American Water, and that this program has been implemented. It was a choice between that $164 million tax break that American Water was given versus, remember, that $88 million that would have been needed to preserve the public water system. And I know that figure isn't accounting for inflation, but I think that I make the point. We need to, going forward, choices must be made to invest in what is needed to sustain communities, to make them sustainable and thrive, and allow government to do the basic essential service of providing people with potable water and putting the people over profits.
Good morning. Oh, sorry about that. Good morning. My name is Vez Kazi. I first just want to start off by saying thank you to all the activists that came out today. Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you know this, but it's 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. A lot of people are working during this time. So if you really want to restore faith in the EDA, I think it's important to have your meetings at a time where the public can come out and really oversee what's going on. So I know you're really opponent, so I urge you to consider that. Moving these meetings to a time where the public can actually come out and can continue to express their concerns. I am currently a candidate for state assembly in Newark and Belleville. I'm challenging Assemblywoman Eliana Pinter-Marin, who is the budget chairwoman and is a very strong proponent of the EDA and these tax incentive programs. And that is very scary to me because that same city that she represents, Newark, is undergoing a lead water crisis. We have a homeless crisis that's continuing to expand. Rents are going up. Gentrification is coming to Newark. All of these things are happening, and we are spending $11 billion on these corporations that are causing this problem.
That's right.
That makes absolutely no sense. Have we not realized that trickle-down economics does not work? We need to invest. We need to invest in education. We need to invest in job training programs. We need to give opportunity to people. That's what's really important, and I think somewhere along the lines in the state of New Jersey, and even on the federal level, we've lost sight of what really grows our economy, and it's those things. So one thing that I really want to do is say everything that every politician would not say. And the first thing that no politician in the state of New Jersey has been saying is that this board needs to resign. It needs to resign, and further, I don't believe that the EDA can restore faith in itself amongst the New Jersey electorate. I think it needs to be abolished, personally. I think it needs to be replaced with a program that is centered on communities, a community development-centered program that offers tax incentives and grants to small and medium-sized businesses that are primarily owned by minorities. Those are the people that need help. Those are the people that are going to bring jobs that actually support their own communities because they live in those communities. They were born in those communities. They grew up in those communities. Those are the people that we need to support. In addition to that, we need to also include a grant program that funds nonprofits to offer services like addiction counseling and offers services like job training. Things like that. We need to support the people in our communities. Yes. That's what we need to do. We can't continue to keep investing in large corporations that are doing absolutely nothing for the people of New Jersey. We need to give that investment directly to the people, the leaders in our communities, the groups that are coming out to really expose all the issues that are happening. And that's something that no politician has come out and said in the state of New Jersey. The EDA does not work. It hasn't worked since 2013, and it needs to be completely removed because it's just draining the funds that we are paying into in the state with our taxes. That's all that it's doing. It's draining our funds, and so that's what I have to say. But definitely, please try to move your meetings to a time where more people can come out because it's really important for us to oversee what's going on here.
And when you get a new board, have more diversity too.
Yeah.
Some more blacks and browns and females that can sit at this table.
All right, what a morning. Just to sort of recap here, this is, to be clear, the issue in New Jersey right now that's unifying all of us. All of the Oh, I'm Sue Altman, the new head state director of New Jersey Working Families. Thank you. So to be clear, this is the one issue that's unifying all of the progressive groups across the state. Good government groups, groups from the suburbs, groups from urban areas. There's an opportunity right now to make a real change. So what you can do today is, number one, we need data and full information for resident and minority hiring right now. Even if those numbers aren't things we're proud of, we need to have that out in the open. Number two, we need to have full transparency. So the whole world is watching, right? There's been stories in the New York Times, stories in Politico. We need full transparency of all the documents that came through the EDA in and out, from companies that got Grow New Jersey recipient grants, to EDA people, to the contracts that went out, to campaign donations that came back. We need full transparency. And unlike the documents that our organizations have been Oprahing over the last 6 months, they need to be in full glory. No redactions, no getting rid of numbers in documents from the EDA. We need full documents. There are some brilliant investigative reporters right now looking into all this stuff, and it needs to see the light of day. So I'm going to leave you with that. A lot has been discussed today. There's a lot to let sort of fester in your brains, a lot to think about. And I really, really hope you will join us and all of these groups from across the state representing all kinds of constituents to move New Jersey to a better place where we have better transparency, a more responsive government, and better community development to really lift this entire state. So thank you so much to everybody who came out here today, and thank you to the board, because I am sure you will do the right thing. Oh, and then probably we kind of still need you to resign.